It's a joy to be here. Ministry has taken me in a sort of interesting direction, and I don't get to go to Sunday services very often. So it's a delight when I do. I love the music, the heart, the being together in community. I love it all. So I'm happy to be here. So my message today is called Learning to Surf, and it comes from the quote by Jon Kabat-Zinn, "You can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf." So you know how they say you should write or speak about what you know? I don't know if it's because I have ADHD, but that doesn't really work for me. As soon as I know something and I'm certain about it, I'm no longer interested. So I tend to speak about something that I am working on right now. So that is really what I'm talking about today. And so I come to you not as an expert in this, I come to you as somebody who's knee-deep in it right now. So that quote came to me because I was putting together a poster, which I will show you later, about a conference that you, whether you know it or not, you are actually participating in already. This talk is actually on another quote. And as I mentioned, ministry is different for me in Nanaimo. We have a Tuesday meditation that we do at the library. So we're very accessible to people who perhaps don't see themselves in a church-like environment on a Sunday morning. And we also have a discussion group on Thursday evenings called Spirituality for Seekers and Skeptics. So we invite questioning. In fact, we encourage it. So anyway, we were reading through some of the ideas in one of my favorite books, A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. I suspect a lot of you have read it or know about it. And I've read it several times, and I definitely consider him to be one of my main teachers. And this time, a quote jumped out at me that I hadn't actually noticed before. And I had mixed feelings about it, to be honest. So the quote is this: "If uncertainty is unacceptable to you, it turns into fear. If it is perfectly acceptable, it turns into increased aliveness, alertness, and creativity." Interesting, hey? So uncertainty, if it's unacceptable, it turns into fear. If we completely accept it, it turns into aliveness, alertness, and creativity. So I gotta admit, when I read that, I was like, I am not feeling it. In this moment, I am not feeling alive, alert, or creative. I am feeling a lot of uncertainty. And I don't know about all of you, but if you ever turn on the news or look outside yourself, there is a lot of uncertainty. I happen to work in the post-secondary school system, which is going through a whole bunch of uncertainty. In fact, to this moment, I think we're waiting for a big report from the government to come out. Uncertainty is everywhere in my life right now, and I am not feeling alive and creative about it. I'm getting there, but I'm not there yet. In my family situation even, we're kind of at that phase where our kids are like, they're good, they're self-sufficient, they're kind of on their way, and we're like, whew. And I have had a couple of parental health concerns happening, so a new wave of uncertainty. So I'm feeling a little world weary, I think. And so I read that quote, and I love Eckhart Tolle. And I am usually what I read, I'm like, yes, I get this. But I'm like, what? Uncertainty turns into aliveness, alertness, and creativity. Like right now, I just feel like I want to have a nap, to be honest. And so it made me think, and there's another reason about this conference that I've been thinking a lot about uncertainty. But do you remember the quote about the only thing that's certain is death and taxes? Right. Do you know where that came from? I did not, so I looked it up. Ben Franklin wrote it in a letter in 1789 after they wrote the United States Constitution. And the full quote is, "Our new Constitution is now established and has an appearance that promises permanence. But in this world, nothing can be said to be certain except death and taxes." That made me wonder, is he rolling over in his grave right now? Honestly. So I'm learning, whether I like it or not, that life outside myself is uncertain. And just as I feel like I've reached a new plateau of certainty, something else comes along. One morning, very early, I was sitting on my porch swing making notes about this talk, and a woman walked by. So I live right in the harbor in Nanaimo. It's beautiful. There's a walkway that goes all the way along to the yacht club. Anyway, I'm sitting there, and a woman is on the phone very loudly, out for a walk. And she says, I only know this snippet of her life. I have no idea who she is. But she says, essentially, she's maybe in her 40s, that she's just discovered that her father is not her father, and actually her father is a neighbor of theirs from when they were kids. And I was like, well, that's a bit of uncertainty that you wouldn't expect. And I was like, yeah, uncertainty is everywhere. And that's also a cautionary tale that if you have a loud personal phone call, it might work its way into somebody's Sunday message. So really what I started to see is, the only certainty we have is this present moment. We can take a deep breath, and that's our certainty. And it's within, it's not dependent on outside experiences. I'm actually a person who likes quite a lot of change, so I'm quite comfortable with uncertainty. I just think the balance is tipped for me right now. So, and really, uncertainty, it can bring challenges, but it can bring really amazing things too. Sometimes I think about myself, I really feel very, very blessed, and I have a beautiful life right now. And I just think of all the moments that brought me to this time. And it's amazing to think, even, my parents immigrated from England, even meeting my partner was, all these sort of serendipitous things to bring me this moment. It is amazing to think of how I got here. And it was a lot of very deeply challenging experiences as well brought me to this moment. So there's value in the uncertainty, and the uncertainty serves us. It's more a relationship. And I think now I'm starting to get clear on what Eckhart Tolle was talking about. It's actually our relationship with the uncertainty that can be problematic. So, there's value in all of it, really. When we start to resist uncertainty, as Eckhart Tolle said, it causes fear. And it causes suffering, really, right? I know in me, I have felt that suffering, that I'm feeling resistant. I don't want it to be this way. Why is there another thing that's uncertain right now? And so I feel that, but you know what? There's even value in that suffering as long as we don't stay there, right? One of my teachers always used to say, when you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, don't stop and build a condo. Suffering has its purpose in our life, but we just don't want to stay there. And one of the things that suffering does is it cracks open our compassion for ourselves and our compassion for other people. And I must say that right now, with everything going on in the world, at work, we've had a year, where there's been a lot of people have been laid off, programs have been cut, students are uncertain, faculty's uncertain, administration is having to make these tough decisions. And I must say that what has opened for me is just that little bit of understanding. We're all struggling, because sometimes the email you get back from somebody is not the tone you would have really appreciated. But, having the ability to just be compassionate and recognize we're all struggling right now. And, there's a certain connection that's built through that. So what I think to get from that place of resisting uncertainty and it causing fear to a place where we can get to the aliveness, alertness, and creativity, because that's what I'm here for, I think what we need a bridge. And this came up in the meditation this morning. The bridge is, I think, first, a place of acceptance. If we're in that place of suffering, we can allow that compassion to open up in us. Then we move to that place of acceptance, that it is what it is right now. And in our teaching, we can often get misled in I must resist this because I control my thoughts and my thoughts control my experience. The experience you're having now is not controlled by your current thoughts. It's actually your old thoughts. Your consciousness created this moment, if we want to talk on a very big global message, and there's nothing in this moment that you can do about it. What you can do is you can plant the seeds for the future. So if we can fully accept, here's where I am, here is where life has led me. And I want to be clear, I'm not putting this as a personal responsibility, you've created all your problems. There's a whole global and humanity-based collective experience as well, right? But if we come to that place of, I can accept this is what's going on right now. This is the pain I'm feeling emotionally, physically. This is how I feel. Do I feel lonely? Whatever is going on, if I can move to a place of acceptance, I can then open myself up into the next place. So one of the areas, and this is, I must admit, self-inflicted uncertainty, is a year ago, I'm not traveling to the US very much right now. So a year ago, there was a conference coming out, and it was in Reno, and I wasn't going to go. So I thought, wouldn't it be great to have a Canadian New Thought conference? We used to, in Centers for Spiritual Living, we used to have an annual Canadian New Thought conference, which was weird because it was only CSL centers. It wasn't Unity and other independent New Thought centers. So I thought, man, maybe it's time to breathe new life into that. And, I get lots of ideas. And then a week later, I'm like, I'm over it. But this one just kept niggling away at me. And then as I do when I have an idea, I just tell everybody who will listen. And people kept saying, that's an amazing idea. We should really do that. And so what happened is this idea, and let me tell you, Center for Spiritual Living Nanaimo's in its 4th year. We moved with nothing to Nanaimo, started a community from nothing. We have no money. We have no business putting on a $60,000 conference, to be honest. But it was an idea, and it was a seed that was planted. And as one of my teachers said, sometimes something is a living idea in the mind of God. And this just happened to be that thing. It just kept coming back, and people were interested. And a few times I thought, I think I'm just going to put this down. But it wouldn't be put down. It just kept coming back up. So here we are, and I'm very, very grateful that Victoria Truth Center has decided to partner with us and has helped to sponsor this, which is I'm super grateful about and excited. But I was in that place for a while of I'm not feeling creative. I'm just feeling like this is one more bit of uncertainty I just don't need in my life right now. But through that accepting, okay, it's all feeling like a lot. It's all feeling uncertain, but I can still find that certainty in my own breath, in this present moment. I can accept how things are right now, and slowly I've been able to move to that place. And unfortunately for me, my creativity shows up at 3 or 4 a.m., which I would prefer it didn't, to be honest, but I've started in the last few weeks. That's happened, and now I'm very excited about the conference and other things going on in my life. And I'm starting to feel the aliveness, the alertness, the creativity come through me. Because that's really what it is, right? There are moments where I'm like, why was I born into this time? Was this really what I was meant for? And we are actually the people for this moment. And how do I know that? Because we're here. We are here. We are the ones. And so I think we all have a role to play in everything that is going on in the world and in just the peace in our own lives. And, I'm not saying each one of us has to go cure cancer or discover some new thing. Sometimes it's just a very intentional life of compassion, of kindness, of coming together in community. Our life has a purpose. We are made for this moment, and we can live it in the place of not accepting and feeling in fear, or we can move into this place of accepting the uncertainty and then feeling that increased aliveness, alertness, and creativity. My new friend John this morning had a great sign. It was, can you say it again? I've forgotten the exact words. What was your sign?
It said, I trust that life is unfolding as it should.
I trust that life is unfolding as it should. Isn't that perfect? So how do I know that this is life for me? Because it's the life I have. How do I then align with that source of life, that infinite wisdom within me, is I get present and certain in my breath in this moment. I have that faith. I know whatever brought me to this moment, and this was my mantra. When we moved to Nanaimo, I had no job. I had a large mortgage, and we came here anyway. And what I said to myself is, life didn't bring me this far to drop me here. So life will provide, life will show up through me. What I need to do is just find that place of acceptance and allowing and alignment. So I don't know where you are in this. I don't know if you've got a lot of uncertainty in your life, or maybe everything feels great for you and I've just totally killed your buzz, and apologize if I did. But wherever you are, I hope you'll take that moment to just find that certainty within, having that bridge of just accepting life as it is, exactly as it is right now, and allowing yourself to open to the creativity, that infinite wisdom, that divine creativity within. Because it's there, and it comes. And you know what? If you don't grab it the first time, it comes back around. Haven't you had that where something comes to you, an opportunity, and you're just like, I don't know. And then later it just comes back again. You're like, I guess it's mine to do, right? So we can trust that. We can live from that place. So I hope that in your journey, whatever the waves are like, whether it's calm right now or very, very turbulent, that you will learn to surf. And I would have had some analogies about surfing in this talk, but I have never once in my life been on a surfboard, so I don't know that experience, but I do know about surfing in life. So thank you for having me, and I hope there's something in this that you can take into your conversation now about surfing and the waves of life. Thank you all.